Yes, people, welcome back to the Magpie Channel TV. Welcome to Fleet Street, where we are joined here by toon legend Steve Watson. Always a pleasure, mate, to see you here.
You too, Matty.
And we're here, remember, for pre- and post-match talks on a weekly basis at Fleet Street, so make sure you get yourselves along. I know the weather's lifting at the minute, but the toon are flying, and the drink offers here at Fleet Street with the cruise camp and that are unbelievable. So make sure you head along for our pre- and post-match talks. Steve, what a week it has been for the toon. We'll go back to Wednesday night, shall we? Let's start there in the first cup that we've got through, and that is the final. The whole city was very nervous on Wednesday night, even though we were 2-0 up. Were you nervous?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I was. It's not a bad thing to be nervous, but I think the players would have been a little bit nervous as well. But I think they've had fire in the belly, like a different kind of nerves to the fans, because it's in their hands really. So when I saw the team come up, there was a lot of people. There's a lot of people in the lounges I was in were talking about it's going to be negative. It's going to be 5 at the back, but I didn't see it that way. I thought it would be 3-4-3. I thought we'd have loads of options to go forward, but still have the stability to go back. And it worked out being a little bit of a masterclass from the gaffer. Without the ball, it was really, really brave, but it was just a fantastic performance.
Doesn't that show how good Eddie Howe is, to be fair? Because some people were still having questions over him just a couple of months ago after that Brentford loss before went on this amazing run, but showing his capabilities to adapt to certain games as well. Yeah. Because you're right, when we were warming up to St James Park, we left Fleet Street here on Pudding Chair, walked up to St James's, 5 at the back. Oh, we're blowing it, we're risking it, we're negative, we're going to let Arsenal come on to us. But how good did it work with the fullbacks, with getting an extra body midfield, and we're seeing for the second goal how far up Shea was pressing and winning the ball?
I just think the amount of work he must have put in to getting that right was incredible. I think the fact that when I got the team sheet and I thought, well, there's only 2 central midfielders in, it can only be 3-4-3. But I think when you see 5 defenders, you assume it's going to be negative. But you got to remember, Hall is incredible going forward. Gordon constantly cuts inside, which means Hall can get round him. Trippier is probably the best, arguably now with Murphy, by the way, because he's been unbelievable. Deliverer of the ball. So it wasn't necessarily a negative formation, and it proved that way. And I think the work that must have gone into it, and the bravery that when you see Shaw pressing at the edge of their 18-yard box, when you see Dan going just as far as he can, and everybody else took it in behind. I just thought the work they put into it was incredible, and it couldn't have worked out any better. And I think you probably see that from usually sort of Arsenal fans and the Arsenal staff, who usually kick and scream when they lose, which we reminded them of during the game, which Absolutely. I thought was very amusing. But no, I think everybody just held their hands up and just said, the best team won.
I would say, because you mentioned those Arsenal fans, and for once they were actually a bit humble at full time when I was speaking to most of them. They were saying how impressed they were with Newcastle, but a bit disappointing how they didn't turn up, in a sense where they didn't cause that many problems for our defence or the keeper that many shots on target. But I think we have to take credit for that, don't we? We're just speaking off air there, we were that good that it maybe made them look that bad. We made it look easy in the end.
Yeah, I think when a good team comes and gets beat, too much emphasis are made on how bad they were. But to be honest with you, I don't think we give them a chance. I think we smothered them everywhere. Obviously, a team like Arsenal. I'll tell you what was kind of key to me, and maybe it's just a bit like old school mentality for me, but I was watching Dan Burn mark Gabriel every corner, and I've never seen the lad so ineffective in a corner, and just the focus and the aggression and the attention to detail for that kind of summed up the performance for me.
And you've never seen Saliba and Gabriel twisted and turned that much with Isaac up top. They've been getting so many plaudits. Apparently Real Madrid wants Saliba. This centre-back partnership's the best in Europe. You hear people saying Isaac just causes them a nightmare, and he's just unplayable when he's like that.
Yeah, Isaac can do everything. Usually, if you play against a striker, they're a certain type of striker, as in they're either very good with the feet, very good at coming short, but maybe not technically, physically good going the other way. but Isak can do everything. He can drop into 10. His feet are unbelievable. He's so good at manipulating the ball. Every time he gets through, he kind of usually works the keeper. The first goal, that was offside from, I don't know, a torso maybe. Amazing finish. Next chance he gets on his left foot, makes something happen. Great finish from Murphy. You know, that was by no means an easy finish, but that was the catalyst to us winning the tie.
It was, and Howe most definitely has Arteta's number, doesn't he? That's three wins a season against Arsenal.
No, like we've kept 3 clean sheets against Arsenal, which is incredible. They're a really front-footed team. You know, they'll talk about the fact that Saka isn't playing, but a team that's challenging for the title, Europe, both cups, you know, can't all be about one player, so we must be doing something right.
Aye, and was it one of the best atmospheres you've witnessed at St James's Park, or at least in recent times? I know you were there yourself.
Yeah, no, it's different for me because like I've witnessed great atmospheres and big nights, but usually from the pitch.
Aye.
So recently, when you've got war flags and we've got the atmosphere we had, and obviously the European games, you see it from a fan's point of view, and it is incredible. You know, it's incredible. It's only getting better, and yeah, we're in a great place.
Did you, when you were on the pitch, you know how you mentioned before there the chants from Toon fans like Mikel Arteta must be the ball, that kind of crack? Would you hear those type of things when you were a player on the pitch, or was it just so like blocked out that you didn't really make out what the fans were saying?
Personally, when it's a full stadium, you hear murmurs. You don't hear everything personally, but I just thought everything seemed to go quiet that night, and everything, as Mikel was standing the six in the box. I just thought that it couldn't be more pure what they were shouting, and I just saw them sort of stepping back, and I just thought, like, you know, that was us at our best as a fan base as well. It was just, you know, it wasn't abusive, it was just good crack. And you know, somewhere down the line, I doubt he'll admit it, but you might actually think, you know what, fair play. You know?
I think Arteta did understand Jody that night since he started creeping back, didn't he? And he thought, oh,
well, he was a teammate of mine at Everton, so he's certainly heard Jody before. So
what was he like as a teammate then?
He was a great player, very professional, but you could always tell that he was going to go down that route. He was always going to go down the management, coaching, obsessed with coaching and management, whereas we were still players at that time, but he would always spend time with the coaches and the management staff. So you could always see him going down that route.
So he's put the work in, fair play.
No, he's a really good, like, they're on the right track as well. Let's get that right. You know, they're on the right track as well. But God, so are we.
Yeah, there we are. Why is it though, Steve? Right, I've got this here because there was a bit of anxiety into that Arsenal game after the form we were in. Battered off Bournemouth at home, lost to Fulham at home. Arsenal were then battering Man City. So you could see why people were a bit navy about owning the 2-0 lead. Why is that Newcastle can seem to turn up under the lights at St James's in these big games, but Saturday 3 o'clock against the bottom half team it's like nowhere near our best?
Well, I think we've come so far under Eddie. I think we're not going to get every facet of everything right.
True.
So I think we'd rather go the way we're going than be the perfect match at the moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we don't know. I don't think I know how much effort he puts into everything, like diligently about playing every opponent. Maybe that's a player's thing rather than a manager's thing, or a staff thing. Maybe it's more difficult to get into a player's psyche than it actually as a management team. You put everything on paper, you do everything right, you put the same amount of detail into playing every game. But if a player or 3 or 4 players just drops off that 10% in their head, thinking, okay, this might not be, then it's really tough for a management team to put that right. As I said earlier, we're not going to get everything right. I think we'll get most of the big games right. I think we're the team that probably nobody wants to play.
Aye, true.
And as I say, we've got probably the informed striker maybe in the world at the moment. So, as I say, what was great about, and I know we're going to move on to probably Birmingham, but I'll just touch on it quickly. we look strong beyond the starting lineup. You know, we've got people that can make a difference. We've seen teams over this weekend play what they'd call a weaker side and fumble, and I think we probably played the best team out of all the teams that played weaker sides, and you know, came through it. So I just think we've got really good options now as well.
I suppose as a human being, it's obviously going to be more appealing, easier to turn up when the flags are there. You've seen more flags, you've got bloody saxophones playing on the pitch. When that's happening, all the cameras from around the world are there in the semi-final. It will raise you naturally, rather than Fulham where no one's watching because it's a 3 o'clock on a Saturday, isn't it? It's just one of those things, I suppose. But
no, but I think you know what? I think
right.
it'll raise. It certainly raises us, the crowd. You know, if I happen to be at St James's and being a fan again and not being a manager of Darlow, which is my team, then it certainly gets us buzzing. But you know, the saxophone and everything, you know, that kind of, the players sometimes are still in the tunnel then, so they've got to be up for the game on their own accord. That's just like a massive help, but they have to be up for like the huge games, and you know, 9 times out of 10 against the big sides we have been.
Definitely. So attention now turns to Wembley, mate. Only a few weeks until the big one against Liverpool. It's going to be a tough ask against a very good side, obviously, but the big question is, can we do it? Can we win the cup?
Well, I thought, you know, when we played Man U in the last cup, I thought, yeah, we definitely could. But, you know, I've been there. I played Arsenal. I played at Wembley. We kind of didn't turn up. I played in the Charity Shield against Man United. Lost 4-0. Didn't really turn up. I don't think we turned up against Man U last time. But this feels different. This feels different. I don't think we're at the stage anymore where we think we're punching above our weight. I think we're actually one of the heavyweights now, and I think we're going to take them on toe to toe. They won't fancy playing us. No. I think they're the best team in Europe at the moment. I was surprised at how they set up against Plymouth, knowing that they probably had a chance of winning 4 trophies. So I was a little bit surprised at the way they did that. And I don't know whether they'll regret that or not. Only time will tell. But all I know is that, like, I would suggest the last team that Liverpool would want to play in the final would be us.
I think so. Now maybe you could say Liverpool fans might be watching and thinking, well, you wouldn't want to play us. You know, we're top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League as it stands.
Which we don't.
Which we don't. We would have much rather Spurs beat you in. We've gone through.
Yeah.
But it's true, man. Like we're there now, and it's everything to us. Do you know what I mean? A 70-year wait. Liverpool are probably going to win the league. They might go on to win the Champions League. They've won that enough times. I think we'll really want it on the day, mate. And I actually do think it's our year. I mean, people were commenting today when I said we would be here, saying like, oh, you said back in September could be our year before even the ball was kicked in the Carabao Cup this year. And we're that close now. We're only 90 minutes away. I mean, what would it mean, do you think, Steve, for the city if it could finally end that trophy drought?
You know what? I think I said it the other day. And you know, teams come and go, players come and go, eras within teams come and go. You know, we had a really good era when I was playing, but ultimately we just hit the post a couple of times. You know,
a few times off the ball, off the line.
No, but I mean, just in general, you know, we didn't win that. We didn't win the league where we had a really good chance. We didn't win the FA Cup where we had a really good chance. And then, you know, time rolls on again, and you know, Bobby had a fantastic side, but again, it didn't happen. But one thing that has been like constant is the fans. So, you know, players and management win what they deserve to win, in my view. You know, if they're good enough, they win. But I think there's no doubt that as a fan base, like, they're good enough. They have been for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. So yeah, I mean, like, fans deserve it. Fans deserve it 100%. And if the players win it, they'll deserve it as well.
Be legends, won't they?
Yeah, of course they will.
You know, you did everything but win it, so if these do it as well, they'll be the same as you.
Listen, 20 years down the line, if this team wins a trophy and you know, nobody will remember us. Nobody will. We'll never get a talk in anywhere. I'll still be coming in Fleet Street having a pint. Cruz Campo prep might be gone by then, but no, listen, they'll deserve everything they get. They're a really strong squad. They're a really, as I mentioned. I don't know if I mentioned to you, Matty, but like I work at the academy now. Dan Burns doing his coaching badges at the moment. He was doing one of his. He was getting assessed the other night. 5 or 6, 7 of the first team were there, watching him, backing him up on a Wednesday night at the academy. I just thought, you know what, like that shows. Now we had an incredibly strong group. Granted, our Wednesday nights were probably somewhere different as a group. but certainly down this way. Yeah. But as I say, like they look like a real group. I've been lucky enough to chat to a few of them recently, and they just look together. And you know, I just think it's not far away.
I hope not, mate. I hope not. But we'll move on to another cup competition then, mate, because FA Cup takes precedent right now. We're going to have the cup draw in about half an hour. By the time the video comes out, you'll know who we've got. But we did get through into the 5th round. A scrappy classic tie, wasn't it, at St Andrews?
Yeah, I mean that's what you'd call your stereotypical cup tie. We made a few changes, but and obviously we went behind early, really quickly. But as you say in cup football, like it's about getting into the next round. And I just looked at the group, and I looked at how good Birmingham were, because by no means are they a weak side that we played. They'll go up this season. I'm sure of that. They're a top championship side in the making. So it was never going to be easy. But I looked at our team that they played on Saturday, the players that came in, and then I look at other teams that put weaker sides out, what they'd call weaker sides, Liverpool, and they get caught out. They didn't look as strong as us in depth, which is another huge tick for us. I think the players that are chomping at the bit to get in our team, you know, your Livermentos, your Nick Popes, your Crafts, you can go on, the whole team basically. You know, I just think we're in a really good place squad-wise as well, and we're going to need everybody. You know, if we're going to try and kick on in the FA Cup, obviously we've got a cup final to play, and we're in a great position to get in the Champions League again. So, you know, we're going to need everybody, and we've got a really strong squad.
What did you make William Asula, who came in? He got a few headlines. He obviously missed a bit of a sitter, a funny old assist for Wilson where he knocked it in, but he was a threat, wasn't he, on that right wing? Put out there, powerful pace.
Yeah, you know what? I've not seen that much of him, but watching him on Saturday, as an athlete, he looks fantastic. You can always get technically better, but that's what we've got a really good coaching staff. So technically, he'll improve. His work ethic will improve because our squad is built on work ethic, and he looks a really like shrewd buy. You know, when you first saw him, you didn't know what to think. But the more you see him, the more you think, you know, we've made a lot of really good decisions with transfers, and we've recruited really well. Isaac being the icing on this cake, really. So yeah, no, I think this kid could be a really good asset to us.
And we somehow managed to, well, of what we know so far, before Eddie does a press conference, get out that game without any injuries, because it was a feisty encounter, to say the least, wasn't it? You know what I mean? There's some crunching tackles flying in there, but I guess that's what you want to see, isn't it, in this type of game?
You know what? It's funny when you watch these games and you're watching them with a lot of people that have been watching football probably only in the last 20 years. They can't believe some of those tackles, and then obviously I'm watching it thinking, well, that's just an average tackle. That's an average tackle. So that game
was now compared with you.
Well, that game was a bit of a throwback. You know, that game was a bit of a throwback. There was a few tackles went in, a few like blocks went in that you don't really see under the microscope of the Premier League. But it was just a proper cup tie. Stood up to it, got through it, and just down to see what happens in half an hour.
Exactly. When the cup draw is made, is there anyone you want to avoid in that one? I mean, listen, some big teams have already went out, haven't they? Arsenal already went out. Chelsea went out last weekend. Liverpool obviously went out, like we mentioned. Spurs are out. So Newcastle right up there now, really. Obviously, Man City, you wouldn't technically want to get. Bournemouth are having a good season, you wouldn't want to get. But
no, listen, I don't. I think I think Newcastle are at the stage now where there'll be more teams worried about avoiding us than us avoiding them. So I just think that's in a good place. Hey, listen, don't get me wrong. I'm not a lunatic, you know. I'd rather get whatever lowest team possible is at this stage. But all I would say is that whoever we get, you know, it wouldn't panic me too much.
No, we definitely don't want Man City away or anyone away. A home draw would be nice, wouldn't it? But then again, could be Plymouth. Could be a long old away trip like a Plymouth or something like that. But
I remember playing Plymouth when I was, I think Ozzy Ordealers was manager. I think we set off about. Must have set off about 4 in the morning to get there. To get there for I think it was an early kick-off. It may have been, but all I'd say about nowadays is that they certainly won't be worried about the travel to Plymouth anymore. The way that we jumped on them coaches at Moordale. So times have changed.
A bit more luxurious now.
A little bit, yeah.
Got the recliners in there, the PlayStations.
But I bet you they don't have the same card schools as us.
No, no, they definitely don't. I mean, speaking of that, someone who you shared a coach with plenty of times, Big Al Shearer, we bumped into him in our hotel bar. Funny enough, me and Andy, the Fleet Street owner here, after the game against Birmingham, he was in a good mood after seeing us get through there. He was obviously covering the game live with Gary Lineker and that, and he was saying, listen, we're through, that's all that matters, and the double's on. The double is still on. Imagine that.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. It's like waiting for a bus, isn't it? Yeah. Get two at once. Nah, listen. As I say, I think on our day, the way that the manager sets up and the way that the players buy into it, that on our day now, at this stage where we are now, we can match and beat anybody. So it's just getting that right on that one day. So as I say, like obviously league-wise, Champions League still up there for us, but trophy is what we need. So I think we've got one amazingly good chance, but another good outside chance as well.
If someone said to you now, Steve, you can win the Carabao, but you're going to finish 10th, no European football, you taking that?
I'm greedy, so I'd rather want both. But I think, if I'm being honest, like, I think every single fan just wants that first one, because the way things are going, I don't think the first one will certainly be the last one.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, no, listen, greedy, obviously don't want us to give up anything. Realistically, yeah, like just get one in the bag.
But if we win both, if we win the FA Cup, then you get European football anyways. So there we go.
Well, there we go.
There we go, that's the answer.
And then Darlow get promoted, and then
hopefully,
and my life is made.
And then next year you get a big draw, St James Park maybe. That'd be nice in the cup, wouldn't it?
Yeah. As long as they don't sing the songs like they did to Arteta to me. Like,
Stevie Watson, it must be the ball.
It must be the ball. Well, the ball under the shirt, they might say to me, but there we go.
Quickly, finally, Steve, away from the cup competitions, we have got Premier League again this weekend, and we have got Man City at the Etihad. But just on that one briefly, it's probably a good time to play them. They've got Real Madrid during the week in the Champions League. They're not on the best of form of what they're usually on, and we're buzzing off that win against Birmingham.
I think they probably rested less players than we did, regarding what you consider the strongest team.
Orient were brilliant, by the way.
Yeah, they were great. That is, as I said, go back to the FA Cup. You know, that's what you want to see in the FA Cup. Like that's our oldest competition. You know, the most famous competition in the world. I hate to see it belittled. So you had some real good cup ties this weekend.
Yeah, you did.
But no, you'll go back to this, and I know the gaffer and Jason and the rest of the staff will be fully focused on just cracking on, trying to bridge that gap to get in them top fours.
Yeah, well, if we get something at City, anything, it would be a big plus. But Steve Watson, it's been a pleasure, mate. Thanks for joining me.
Always a pleasure, mate.
Remember, you can see us here at Fleet Street most weeks for pre and match talks. Keep an eye on our socials, follow the Magpie channel, follow Fleet Street, and come down here at Puddenshaw to check them out for the great drinks offer and to watch all the Toon games live. See you in the next one.